All right, everyone. Welcome to our Tuesday night February monthly setup. We are going to work on setting up your February journal. And I saw in the chat there were several new folks here, folks saying, oh, I hope I can figure out how to do this, what this is going to look like. First off, let me just say welcome. We are so excited to have you here in our Sonder family. The next thing I want to say, and I want to say this to everyone, is your journal is for you, right? No one's going to grade it. No one's going to come check to see if you did it right. It's really for you, and it's really for how you want to set things up to make your month run more smoothly, to have some space for yourself and really be able to give yourself that self-care that you need and spend some time putting pen to paper and getting things going, right? So tonight, for those folks who are new, we always have we have monthly setups. So we usually do those obviously toward the end of the month for the next month. And we do have one more tomorrow evening. So we've had 4 monthly setups for February. We do record these socials, and we'll tell you how to access those here at the end of the social, so you can always review it if you missed anything. And then we also do weekly setups, which we had been doing Sunday evenings and Monday mornings, but we are adding in for the month of February a Saturday evening, 4 p.m. Pacific time setup time. So you'll have more opportunities to help set up your week. Then we have socials that are focused specifically on some of the journal pages. So for example, on Thursday, I am going to work with you on the letter to yourself and your favorite things that are in the journal. So we have, so you have some time, so you can dedicate some time. So those are all free, and you can attend as many of those as you would like. Those are part of your membership. We do have exclusive events, which do have a fee. I think it's $10. And those are exclusive activities, exclusive things that happen that are not from your journal. So if you ever need to kind of take a look at everything that's in there, we have Eventbrite if you follow Silk and Sonder. And again, we'll put in some web links for you. So my name's Maya. I am coming to you from Denver, Colorado, where happily, I think we got up to maybe 32 degrees today. Yesterday, I think was a high of 4 with like a negative something as the low, but it's warming up. So hopefully that trend continues. And with me is Jennifer O. She is in Texas, and she might pop on and give us a little wave here. There she is. Hi, Jennifer. Where it is also cold, and they are also having to deal with what she called thunder sleet, which that was a new one for me. I know here we've had thunder snow, but now they're getting some thunder sleet. So hopefully everyone is staying warm wherever you are, and you're ready to get to work on your journal. So also, just a little bit of housekeeping. Make sure that you set your chat to everyone, right? So that way everyone can see. Otherwise, and I will say, if you're using a cell phone or an iPad, it has a tendency to keep flipping back to the panelist, the host and panelist are the only ones who can see the chat. So you have to kind of keep flipping that around. The other thing that I've heard is a little bit annoying on a phone, I'm not sure about the iPad, is that if you're in the chat typing or reading, you can't hear the music. When I have the music going, or I think you can hear me talking, but I think you can't hear when I do the music for some of those settings. So just to let you know. Also, like I said, Jennifer O is here in the chat, and she can help you with questions. I try to keep an eye on it as well. If you're having any problems, need any help, just clarifying questions, those kinds of things. All right. So yeah, and is it Marcia is saying it's correct on her phone and it's a bummer. Yeah, and I'm sorry about that. I think it's a Zoom thing. I don't know how they can fix it. So let's dig in, let's get started. And the other thing I want to say is, even if maybe you just ordered your February journal and you don't have it yet, or maybe it's running a little late. I know we've had a few shipping issues. Apologies for that. And thank you for your patience. If you don't have your February journal yet, but it's great to be here, to come to the socials, take notes, write on sticky notes, all that kind of thing, and then you'll be ready to go once your journal arrives. So let's dive in. So this, for the month of February, our theme is passion, right? And I think it's important to note that passion doesn't just mean romantic passion, right? Certainly that can be part of it. But thinking about passion or thinking about things that you're passionate about, right, can be all kinds of things, right? We had a lot of folks yesterday that were saying they're passionate about Silk and Sonder, right? They're passionate about taking care of themselves, about some self-care, those kinds of things. And the definition that we have in our journal is passion is a strong and barely controllable emotion, right? So kind of think about that, and it's kind of fun to play with throughout the month. And that's the great thing about Silk and Sonder is every month we have a theme, and it's fun to kind of dig into them. And sometimes even when they don't resonate with you, right? You hear the word and you're like, oh, I don't like that word. Give it some time and kind of have an open mind and see where exploring the journal pages, doing that setup, see where that takes you, right? So I do want to point out one of the things that I always do and Jennifer always does is the first thing I do when I get my journal is I read the letter from Meha, and that's on page 2. She always has a very lovely letter, and she really kind of tells you her intentions and her thoughts about this theme and this upcoming month, right? And so I pulled out just a few little passages as I read it, and I kind of underline on my own journal, but a few little passages just to kind of think of, right? So one is passion doesn't always come easy. Another is finding one's passion can't be scheduled nor time boxed, right? You can't put it on your to-do list. Find my passion, little checkbox, right? That's not how passion works. And really passion is doing things because you want to rather than you have to. Another one was take stock of what you're naturally drawn toward. If you haven't done, Meha has the little workshop with the values where she kind of has you dig into your values. That's a really interesting one. So a lot of times your values can help you figure out your passion. Or this question really helps. What ignites your inner spark? What do you get so excited about when you're talking to somebody? You're talking 100 miles a minute and you're just talking and talking and talking and they can't get a word in edgewise. What is that thing, right? What is that thing that you're passionate about? And then what people, places, or objects fuel your passion, so much so that you lose track of time, right? That idea of flow, where you're doing something and it's so amazing and you're so into it, you just totally lose track of time. So this is a great, like I said, I always like to read the letters, and Steph, you're welcome for the reminder. I always like to remind everybody, don't forget about that letter, right? That's kind of a fun, just takes a few minutes to read and really gives you that, where's Meha coming from? Again, sometimes when I read her letter, I'm like, oh, I hadn't actually thought of it that way. So fun thing to do there, right? And then you'll notice there is the little QR code. Hopefully everyone's on Sonder Club. If you're not, oh my gosh, we need you to download that app and hop on there so you can share things with us, so that you can get inspiration from other Sonder Club members. It's a very nice app. So if you're looking to maybe get rid of one of your social media apps, you could replace it with the Sonder Club app, I think, because it's a very positive place to be. So our agenda for tonight is we're going to do a little opening activity related to the theme of passion. We're going to do our January reflections, set our February intentions. We're going to set up our mood tracker, and we're going to set up our habit trackers. Those are the things we're going to focus on tonight. So we're not going to focus on the whole journal, just focusing on these areas. And I have two little cartoons from one of my favorite artists, The Latest Kate. And she always has these very affirming, fun little drawings. And there's one, the one on the left with all the little kitties says, there's room for you here just as you are. And I want everyone to really take that to heart, right? We are really here to support you wherever you are. Maybe things are going amazing and you got a new job, or you got a promotion, or things are just amazing, right? And everything's great. We're here. We love to hear about your successes. We love to celebrate your successes with you. Maybe things are a little stressful. Maybe you're not doing as well as you wanted to health-wise. I know we have a lot of our Sonder fam that have struggled with various health issues over the time. Maybe you're in the middle of a divorce. Maybe maybe you're struggling with kids. Goodness knows if you have maybe teenagers, you might be struggling. That's okay. We want you here too. Share your struggles with us. A lot of times we get you'll get great ideas and thoughts and feedback from folks in the chat, right? That will help you. So just remember, no matter where you are, if you're great up high, kind of hitting the down lows, you're welcome here. We want you here, right? And then the other one is the way you feel matters, and no emotion that you feel is bad or unworthy. And I think that's really important because we don't criticize here. We don't tell you, oh, you shouldn't feel that way. Oh, that's, invalidate your feelings, right? They are your feelings. Your feelings are your feelings. And no emotion that you feel is bad or unworthy or any of those kinds of things, right? So just know that we are here in the chat to support each other. We aren't criticizing. We aren't saying what you should do. We aren't, telling you did something wrong, right? We are just being very supportive of each other. All right. So that's kind of those are kind of our ground rules as we go forward. And I know there's a lot of folks here. So sometimes the chat gets rolling really fast. Don't let it stress you out. Sometimes some folks come and they just watch the chat and they participate in the chat and they just kind of take notes to fill in their journal later. Some folks specifically work on filling out the journal and they kind of ignore the chat. So it's kind of whatever works for you, right? And again, like I said, there is another setup that will be tomorrow at 4. I don't know if that one's full. I know a lot of these have filled up really quickly. You can always get on the waiting list. And like I said, there will be a recording and Jennifer will share that link with you here at the end. So let's dive in and get started with our opening activity. So this one's kind of fun. It's going to get you brainstorming. It's going to get you kind of thinking and just put things down, right? So what we want you to do is to flip to a notes page. I know you're going to laugh because we always say find a blank notes page, and it's easier in the beginning of the month than it is at the end, but because we always fill up your blank pages with lots of things, daily rituals and our activities here in the socials. Or maybe you got the thoughts journal that we have, the blank thoughts journal that is very lovely. And it's blank pages with just kind of little bullet dots that you can use. Or I chose page 7 right before the monthly setup pages. But again, you can pick whatever you want. You can use scratch paper, you can use sticky notes, whatever works for you. So what I want you to do is to list 28 things, right? 28 days in February. I'm going to list 28 things that make you feel empowered or make you feel passionate. And then what you're going to try to do is to commit to doing one of these things each day, or maybe an aspect of these things each day. So you can think small, maybe it's just listening to your favorite song. Or you can think big, maybe it's going on a trip. Or I'd say you can think medium and maybe it's planning a trip, right? Maybe just the planning is what's going to happen this month. All right, so there's the instructions here, and I'll show you. I did mine online so you could read my writing here. So as you can see, I only got to 23, and then I couldn't come up with any more. So I need to think a little bit more tonight so that I can fill those in, so I can kind of find where to plug some of these things in my journal. And I saw somebody in the chat had suggested using that page. I think it's page 5 where they have the full month calendar. That would be a fun place to write one of these things in each day as you think about it. So I put things, of course, it's funny. I put things like getting outside, and lately it's been so cold. The thought of going outside is horrifying. But eventually I'm hoping it will warm up a little bit in February. I can get outside. Thinking about managing my money. I will say today I was not good and bought a couple things from Instagram ads. I am so bad about that, but they were presents for other people, so I think it's okay. So all these different kinds of things, right? Like time with my cats and my husband, friends and family, moving my body, et cetera, going to a museum. And then I just kind of threw in some little clip art pages, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play some music. I'm going to be quiet and turn off my camera so that you can just well, I shouldn't say worry. You can just focus on coming up with 28 things that make you feel empowered or that you're passionate about, that just make you come alive, right? That inner spark that Meha was talking about. And feel free to share. And I saw Darcy had already shared watching sunsets, love watching sunsets, beach walks. I was going to do those. So that's amazing. So fantastic. So share with us, write in your journal. and then I will check back in here in just a few moments. All right. So a lot of really great ideas. I love some folks, you know, it took them a while. They were like, I'm only coming up with 5. Took them a while, but they kind of got into the flow there. Jesse is going to had a great idea to take 28 pictures, like to make a fun little collage here at the end of the month. We would all love to see you post that collage at the end of the month on Sonder Club, because that sounds super fun. So lots of fun things. You know, and some folks put things like things that make them feel productive, make them feel energized, right? And again, empowered. So Jessica was saying simple things like cleaning out my purse or cleaning out, you know, the wallet or something like that. So again, it doesn't have to be amazing and huge things. It can be these small things that really add up. And I think that's something that's always important for us to remember, is that all these little things can add up to something really big. So if you didn't get to 28, that's okay, right? You've got some. Fill those in later. My guess is things will come to you probably when you're in the shower or when you're driving, right? That's why I was telling Jennifer, like I always get these ideas when I'm in a place where I can't write things down, or, you know, when you really have to focus on whatever the task is at hand. So things will probably come up and you will see that. So let's move on and let's dig into our monthly planner. So the first thing we're going to tackle are these January reflections, right? And we had one member, and I couldn't find her example to put in for tonight, but I did want to read this because I thought this kind of had the same idea. She always writes a goodbye letter to the month that is ending and a hello letter to the month that is starting. So I thought this worked really well. The bye-bye January. You gave us time to regroup, replenish, and reflect. We cleaned out the clutter and made a fresh start. But now it's time to say goodbye to what was and hello to what is next. We are opening our hearts to the new, surrounding ourselves with what we love, passion, are passionate about, finding love wherever we look, and taking time to make our hearts happy again. February is almost here. We are ready for you, right? So I thought it's a fun way to kind of say like, hey, month that's ending, thanks for all you did. It was great. And now you're leaving. Thanks for all you did. And now, hello, new month. And here's what I'm looking for with what you see. Yeah, and Jennifer's saying sometimes we need to break up with the previous month, right? Depending on how the month was. But this is really I thought this was kind of a fun little practice, and I need to remember to put this into practice because it's kind of a fun thing to do. And it is great to really sit and reflect on what you did in January or what you did in the previous month, right? Because so often, I don't know if you're like me, but so often I will get to the end of the month and think I didn't do anything this month, right? Like the month flew by. And when I actually take the time to sit down and fill out this page every month, I am always amazed at all the things that happened during the month. So looking at things that are a win, right? So maybe it's something you did, something that made you smile, made you happy, an accomplishment, maybe a barrier that you broke down, something you were like, that is definitely a win. And a lot of times I like to list new movies that I've seen, books that I've read, how many knitting projects I got done, those kinds of things, right? Those are my wins, sometimes my wins for the month. My challenges are things that maybe didn't go right, something maybe out of my control, something that's kind of tripping me up a little bit. I still need to kind of wrestle with, kind of like your thorn when you do the rosebud thorn, right? So those challenges. And then, like it says, you could use your rosebud thorn. Oh, it said June. Whoops, I forgot that. Messed up that month there. Anyway, and then a really good idea is to use your phone to go back through your pictures. I'm always surprised how many pictures of things that I've taken where I'm like, oh my goodness, look at all these things. Or look at your calendar, right? Look at look at last month's journal. If you're new, obviously you don't have a journal yet, but keep that in mind, right? This is a journal you can look back on in March. You can look back on the February journal and then kind of see what kinds of things you did. And then we have this idea of things we want to start, stop, and continue. So maybe starting things that aren't being done, but we want to get done. things to begin doing to get better results, things worth trying or experimenting to get better results. Maybe we want to stop those things that are not working or helping, things that are impeding, they're not practical, they're not serving us anymore. They served us at one time, but we're done with those things you dislike. And then continue those things that are working well, things you want to keep up with, worth kind of continuing to see if you want to keep doing those. So here's just a couple examples, and these are actually from, again, I was kind of digging through some of my examples, and the one on the right is actually my December reflections from 2021. So this was actually a little bit older than what I had thought, but I kind of threw in a few stickers, kind of drew some pictures. The one on the left is one of the other facilitators, I think, and she kind of has these little hearts here that she used, put some things in. So it can be pictures, it can be drawings, it can be just words, bullet point things, kind of whatever works for you to really just help you kind of sit and reflect and think about the month that you just had, good or bad, or a little bit of both, right? So again, I'm going to pop off camera, let you work on that, and then we'll check back in here in just a few moments. right. Hopefully that gave you some good time to really kind of reflect on January. I know a lot of folks said, oh, January just seemed like it just whizzed by. But then when they start kind of writing things down, they realize all the things they did. So of course it went by really fast because you did all these things. I loved seeing some folks had started therapy. Some folks were able to walk. A win was walking every day. Someone took their granddaughter to the thrift store and let her go wild buying costume jewelry. I can only imagine the kind of costume jewelry a 4-year-old would pick out at a thrift store, but how awesome is that, right? What a fun thing to do. So think about that. And if you didn't finish this page, if you haven't quite finished, no worries, right? I mean, this is the kind of thing you can come back and revisit over the next few days. Again, as things pop into your mind, probably while you're driving or you're in the shower, right? So then you can always kind of pop these things back in. So this is a nice little page to really kind of reflect on as you go forward. So let's pop on to the next page. So turn over to page 9. And you'll see February intentions, right? This is where we spend some time really thinking about how we want these different aspects of our life to be in the coming month, right? And so it's not really a to-do list. It's not really a setting goals per se. It's really more about how do you want to feel and be and act and experience the month in these particular areas. Now you'll notice there are 6 different areas. We have spiritual health, personal life, physical health, key relationships, money management, and professional goals. If one of these categories doesn't speak to you, you're like, I'm not really sure like what this would be, make it your own, right? You can always cross that out and put something else over it. Jennifer, our stage manager tonight, she said she frequently will cross out the professional goals because she's retired. She's like, I don't have any professional goals. I'm done, right? So kind of thinking of something else to add, like adding crafting goals or, how home improvement goals or, environment goals. Oh, yeah, Jennifer changed them to learning goals. Love that, right? So maybe learning goals feels better than professional goals. Ooh, Lisa, good luck on the job interview tomorrow. Rooting for you. Yeah, or money management, right? Some folks are like, that's not really a thing that I need to worry about, so change it to something else. So Michelle is saying she changes hers, mental health, retirement goals, and time management, right? So all these different ways to kind of change things up. And some people are like, I don't know the difference between personal life and key relationships. So the way I always kind of think of it is personal life is just kind of like me, not at work, kind of like how I am. And I like to use, like we have here, use the theme of passion to set your intentions. So I kind of tried to write in each one. So in personal life, I wrote passionate about living my best life, right? That's my intention for the month of February in personal life. For my key relationships, I wrote passionate about being with my people. For physical health, I wrote passionate about taking care of myself. For money management, I wrote passionate about loving what I have, right? So that's kind of a fun way to approach those intentions. And again, we can use these intentions when we go in and do our mood tracker and we go in and do our habit tracker. You can look back at that and see how this will kind of play into it. You could also use, if you have a word of the year, maybe you want to focus on that as with your intentions for how you want to realize your word of the year in February. Maybe you want to focus on a particular area like self-love or self-talk. Maybe you want to use song titles or lyrics or book titles or something that kind of inspires you in that area. Maybe you want to write what you want to accomplish. You want to use stickers, colors, doodles, images. I know I saw somebody that said, I don't like to leave any white space, so I have to do doodles or pictures. Absolutely can put those in there. Maybe you want to write down one thing you want to let go of or one thing you want to manifest in that area for the month. So here's some examples of things that we've done in the past. So you can see the one on the right, they have these really cool stickers. I'm not sure where they got them. But they had these fun, like fostering connection, break up with perfect, grow your own way, celebrating compassion, unlocking clarity, inspiring creativity. And then the one On the left has, again, just some kind of things about be a better friend to yourself. Remember the strength that lies within you. So kind of some different quotes there. And then I use, that's mine in the middle, that's last January's actually, where the theme was imagine for last January, but I kind of did, again, the imagine, right? So imagine endurance, imagine connections, imagine abundance, those kinds of things. So that's kind of one fun way to do it. Here's some other ways to do it. One of our other facilitators, Bailey, if you ever take a social with her, she always loves her Disney stickers. So she has some fun little Disney stickers in there. The one in the middle has some pretty little pictures and some color, right? And just some ideas of things that they want to do for each one of those areas. And then that one up in the top right is Post-it notes, right? A lot of folks really, really like Post-it notes to start out so that they can kind of think about it for a little while before committing it to the journal. Absolutely fine to do, right? Perfect way to go about thinking about that. So spend some time, work on those intentions. Again, we're going to play some music. If you want to tell us how you're maybe repurposing one of those areas or the different intentions that you're feeling in those areas, please feel free to do so in the chat, but we'll play a little song, we'll pop back in and we'll check and see how everyone's doing. All right. Well, I saw several people in the chat said that song gave them the Bridgerton vibes, which I have not seen. I know everybody says it's really good. Maybe I'll have to, that will be the next series that I take a dip into, but gosh, there's so many good things on. And you noticed in the chat, Jennifer had suggested, you don't have to fill in all 6. You could maybe just do 2 and cover up the bottom 2 with some stickers, right? Or pick 2 and then cover in the bottom, or pick 3. You don't have to fill in every box. You don't have to do every single thing, right? And especially if things are maybe a little intense in your world right now, or maybe they've been intense and they're finally starting to let up, give yourself the grace to say, you know what, I think this month I really want to focus on my personal life and my money management, right? These are the 2 things I really want to focus on, and focus on those, right? Because sometimes it's hard to try to focus on that many, on 6 different areas, right? So don't ever think you've done something wrong. None of the facilitators will come knocking on your door and ask to see your journal and scold you for not filling in all the white space, right? You absolutely, this is for you to feel good about, to not feel guilty about, right? So let's jump into our mood tracker. Flip that page and find those fun little boxes there for the mood tracker. So this is another one that some folks really like, and some folks are like, I don't know what to do with this. And I'm going to be honest, I have been in Silk and Sonder now for, has it been 3 years? It's probably been at least 3 years that I've been getting these. And yeah, Melissa says a surprise visit from us would be awesome. Maybe we have to think about that. I still have a hard time with the mood tracker, right? First of all, I have way too many emotions, my Gemini emotions. I can go through the whole gamut in a day or an hour. So the thought of trying to track them is like too intense for me. But some people really like to maybe pick an emotion, and I'm going to show you a feelings chart that you can, if you want some different words for some different feelings, you can track. Some people maybe pick an emotion from each section of the feeling chart, and then they say which one was maybe the strongest of the day and fill those in. Maybe pick a few different areas from the feeling chart and dive deep. Maybe you want to focus on this idea of passion. We've had folks talk about how they want to kind of do some sort of like on a scale of 1 to 5 or something, how much passion did they feel for, in their life or in a particular area. So then when you fill it in, you can either fill in every emotion that came up, fill in whatever emotion was strongest. And I'm going to show you some examples of those. Yeah, who is it? Somebody's saying, Data saying, honest moment about the mood tracker. Every month I start off strong filling it out, and then I fall off about day 15. Happens all the time. Don't feel bad, right? Again, this is supposed to serve you. So some people have really had great success, especially if they're working with their therapist and they're tracking maybe feelings of anxiety, right? And kind of what that looked like. And then they can kind of bring that in and show them. So this is the idea of repurposing, right? So some people like to keep it as a reading log or a book tracker. I know that's what Jennifer O does. Some people like to track different symptoms. Again, so when you see your doctor or therapist, you can kind of have a log. I did for a while, I was kind of tracking vertigo symptoms, but I kind of slacked off and didn't keep up with that. So here's some examples of things that folks have done. You can see up in the top left, she's really kind of focusing on tracking some anxiety feelings, anywhere from none, light, moderate, frequent, heavy, or panic attack. Right. So kind of having that in there. The mood tracker in the middle up on the top is beautiful, but it would, I would probably only fill in a few days and not get to the rest of them. But she has all these different happy, sad, joy, peace, hopeless, and alone to kind of fill in. And I think she probably did it kind of based on how strong the emotion was. Beautiful, great way to track that. Then there's the mood tracker over on the right, where they have content, disappointed, frustrated, productive, relaxed, and stressed, kind of keeping track. The one on that bottom left is a book tracker. And someone just posted that the other day in Sonder Club. And I thought, oh, I'm going to take that and pop that in there so folks can see how they have these, a set of books, and they want to kind of keep track of which days they're reading the book. So they're going to fill the stickers in. And then there's one where they did emotions for 3 and energy for 3, which I thought the energy level one was really interesting to kind of keep track of. So not only are they keeping track of their emotions with the lovely little flowers, but the box that they draw around the lines, the highlighted lines, show their energy level for the day. And so that's kind of a good one, a good idea. A good idea to think of. Excuse me. Now here's the feelings wheel. And I think Jennifer's probably going to drop in a link so that she can, so that you can have access to a web page that has this on there. But I also tell folks it's a good idea sometimes to take a screenshot or to take your camera and take a quick picture. And I'll leave this up as we play some music and you work on it. But this is kind of fun to kind of maybe dig a little bit deeper. So say you want to kind of track feelings of joy, but you want to get deep into joy. So you're like, okay, I want to see how many times I was actually excited versus blissful versus optimistic, right? And then they can kind of track those. And again, maybe there's just 2 or 3 different emotions that you want to track for the month. Maybe you want to do all 6. Maybe you want to track levels of an emotion, like how hopeful was I on this day, right? Those kinds of things. So think about your intentions, right? Were any of your intentions feeling a certain way, having a certain mood, being a certain way? Maybe that's what you want to pull in and track. All right. So let us know kind of how you're using it, how you're going about tracking, and then we'll check back in here in just a few moments. Oh my gosh, you guys, the chat is full of gold. Like, please take some time and kind of scroll through that. I will say that's one of the unfortunate things of the recordings is that it doesn't include the chat. So make sure you spend a little time as you're kind of scrolling through with some of these fabulous ideas that folks had on different things to track, kind of tracking kind of their emotions with kiddos' emotions, kind of seeing what that looks like. Folks who had a lot of different emotions that they were tracking and kind of doing different colored pencils for different levels of the emotion. And yeah, Jennifer had put in the chat, I was going to mention this too, someone in Sonder Club shared that her husband always asked, or her husband asked, why are you always in such a bad mood? And she showed him her mood tracker and said, nope, that's actually not true. I'm actually pretty happy most of the time. And she had her evidence there, right? Had her receipts. So it's always a good thing to, again, kind of go back, just like when we reflect on the previous month. If we take the time, if we remember, we can do this. So I noticed also a lot of folks were saying, oh my gosh, I do this really good for like a couple of weeks and then I forget. So that's a key to you to maybe put that into your weekly habits, someplace where you see it more frequently, as opposed to forgetting to flip back. The other thing that I do, and I probably need to do again, I need to be a good model, is set an alarm on my phone, right? So set an alarm for like 8 p.m. every day. And then, you know, says, fill out Sonder journal. So I can go in and fill out the tracker. That's another option too for moods. You know, when I was talking about, I have so many different moods. It's like, I don't know what to track. You can always set, you know how there's those apps like TikTok has the now, and then there's the Real Me or Me Real or Be Real, where there's like, it sends you a message and it says time to track. like to take a picture or whatever. So you could set a time on your phone, or you could tell somebody to message you at random times of the day or whatever. And then fill out your mood right at that time, right? So just how are you feeling right at that particular moment? So that's always kind of a fun way to kind of think about ways to go. And I saw some folks were suggesting maybe a mid-month check-in. So I sent that off to headquarters so they can kind of think about that as we set up some of our different socials, because that is a good idea to kind of check in and see how people are feeling, how they're doing with all that, because you do tend to forget, right? We spend all this time at the beginning of the month and then we forget. So let's move on to our habit tracker, the last part that we're going to work on here tonight. So lots of different tips and tricks for how to do this. I will say these are things, this is on page 11. These are things that you want to do every single day, right? So make sure that it's a habit you really believe you need to do every single day, you want to do every single day, either that, or maybe if it's just a Monday through Friday habit, you could black out the weekends or something so that you know you don't have to track it on that particular day. So again, you can use passion as your grounding theme, or you can look back at your intentions and maybe find a habit that will help you realize that intention. So when I was talking about wanting to, with focus on me and kind of be feeling healthy, I put my supplements down there, right? I have morning, noon, and evening supplements, and I'm pretty good about taking them, but I thought I'm going to put them on the habit tracker and see if I can actually track and see how that goes, because that's going to help me realize my intentions. You can continue habits from last month if you had the ones that you really liked, and I strongly suggest finding a balance between ones you know you can do and ones that might be trickier to commit to. I strongly advise against coming up with 7 brand new habits that you have not been doing at all and filling out 7 lines of things that you haven't been doing, right? It's too stressful. It's going to be too much change. You're going to fall off the wagon, and then you're going to feel bad about it, right? So we don't want that. Pick a couple, right? Again, this is a place you don't have to fill out every single line, right? The other thing you can do, maybe remove a low value habit. So some people feel like watching TV is a low value habit, scrolling through Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, kind of a low value habit. Replace it with something else. So you could put one of those lines, habit this month, read a book instead of scrolling, right? Something like that. And then you can check that off when you do that. And you don't have to fill in every line. And remember, good habits are as addictive as bad habits, but much more rewarding. So think of those habits that will help. So here's just a couple examples so you can see someone who kind of filled in, and they use the little dots to kind of fill that in. The one on the bottom has some different things in there, but you'll notice that she has on the bottom days 20 through 25, kind of a squiggly line, kind of indicating, you know what, I didn't really track. Maybe they were on vacation. Maybe, like we were saying, like you do really good for a couple weeks and then you kind of fall off, but then you hop back on. So give yourself that grace, right? It's okay to just kind of scribble in. And you notice she didn't fill in every single habit every single day. It didn't happen every day. But again, this is a great place to look back and see, okay, so how did I do? Here's also some small habits for self-love. This comes from Silk and Sonder's Instagram page, which is a great page with all these fun little ideas of things to do. So you can always kind of check in there. So give yourself some ideas. Let us know what kind of habits that you're putting down here, what kinds of things that you're thinking of, and we will check back in here in just a few moments. Oops, sorry about that. I lost my mouse. I couldn't find my mouse on here. All right, so looks like lots of people have some good ideas for habits. I do recommend putting in one, even if it's always a win. You're like, I always do this. I always make my bed in the morning. Even when we're at a hotel, my husband laughs at me because I make the bed in the morning, but it's a habit I've gotten into. It's just, I get up and I make the bed. It's just how it works. But a lot of times I will put that on here because it gives me a win, right? It gives me a check box, makes me feel good. And it's a habit. It's a habit I want to keep, right? So it's good to kind of put those on there along with maybe one new thing. And I love the idea of replacing, right? So I'm not going to scroll. I'm going to read a book. I'm not going to play games on my phone. I'm going to meal prep for the next day, right? Figure out a way to replace, because that really is the trick, right? If you just say, I'm not going to do this anymore, but now you have kind of this gap, your brain will fill it. So keep an eye on doing those kinds of swap out kinds of habits, right? So I did want to show you this as well, because a lot of folks talk about what do you do with your sleep tracker? I don't track my sleep. I keep, I have a smartwatch, I have a Fitbit, it already tracks my sleep. I don't need to keep it here. But first of all, I will remind you, you don't have to fill out every page. It's okay to have it blank. You could put stickers, you could do doodles, you could just leave it blank. We're not going to come knocking on your door, remember? But here's some ways to repurpose it. You could, some folks did to track their work breaks. So like actually to making themselves take a break during work, workout logs, cleaning logs. A lot of folks I hear, I see talking about decluttering. So maybe what did you declutter? What little area did you declutter? Oh, Michelle uses it as a Wordle tracker. Perfect. I enjoy, which I actually haven't been doing lately. Maybe I need to start doing that again. I like music. If you couldn't tell, I know a lot of folks are enjoying the playlist. I love making the playlist for this. But I do, so there's not Hurdle, it's called, or it's not Wordle, it's Hurdle, Heardle. And there's an 80s one, a 70s one, a general one. And so those are always kind of fun. So it's kind of like I name that tune, right? So they play like 1 second, and then if you don't get it, you get 2 seconds. So that's kind of fun. So that's a fun thing you can kind of keep track of. Bingo lists, learning logs, books you've read. Somebody was, I think, had tracked kind of like vacations, or if you want to track steps that you took, anything like that. Here's just some kind of fun ideas. So hopefully you've got some fun ideas. And now guess what? You're like set up for your month. You're ready to go. So please, if you would like, you are welcome to share your planner in Sonder Club. Again, folks really get a lot of inspiration for that. And we, the facilitators, go on and find some fun examples to show real life examples, right? These aren't just something that headquarters made a pretty fancy example of. These are things that your fellow Sonder Club family made. So feel free to share that. Also, here is a QR code for the refer a friend. If you've seen that, it's the, if you refer a friend and they sign up under your name, you get $10 and they get $10 to spend on random things in the store. We have, different bath bombs and the journal, the blank page journal, those kinds of things. And Jennifer is going to put a link in the chat for the YouTube recording. So it's very, very important that you save that link, click on that link and bookmark it, because you won't be able to search it because it is just for our Sonder family members. So you can't just find it if you search, or if you look on Silk and Sonder's YouTube page, you won't find it. So make sure you hang on to that. And we often will drop it into the Sonder Club if you don't have that link saved. But hopefully everyone, you can go on there, you can find those. And I think they've got there's over 300, I think, on there. So you can always watch older ones, right? And so we are so glad for our new members to have joined us tonight. So many great ideas. Love it, Liz. Welcome to the family. Welcome to our Silk and Sonder socials. For our folks who return religiously on all the socials, we love to see you here. Have a fantastic evening. Here's, if you want to take a picture of the playlist that I used, please feel free to do that. And we hope to see you again soon. Thank you so much. Have a fabulous evening.
Ain't no karaoke, but no duet. We can swing along